All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode number 2 of the Deep In podcast. We are so excited to have you all in this conversation. This one's a fun one. We want to go ahead and this brown is looking phenomenal on you. Goodness. It looks decent on me.
You look good too. You're like chocolate king.
Oh, period. Okay.
Stop. Cut the cameras.
Oh, she makes fun of me so much. Like, don't let me put on a matching suit, man. I'm the superstar of the nation. Okay. So in this episode, we want to talk a little bit about triggers. But I think a lot of people, when they think of triggers, they're thinking of getting upset in conflict or arguments. But I don't think a lot of people understand that they have different types of triggers and what exactly that means. So I guess off the bat, what does like triggers mean to you? And I guess before we even get into it, like, this is some important stuff if you want to have like a healthy relationship, especially a healthy marriage, healthy long-term relationship. You really want to understand your partner's triggers. So I guess before we get into it, why it's so important, what does like triggers mean to you?
Yeah. So for me, triggers are things that make you cause a certain reaction out of you. So a trigger could be that when you don't hear from someone for a very long period of time, if that might trigger you to start panicking, overthinking. It's things that trigger something internally in you to cause like some sort of reaction, emotional reaction. Yeah, I feel that
100%. I think I like what you said about how like you kind of linked them, right? So people think, again, triggers are maybe this like internal feeling they feel, not realizing that it was something that happened externally, but it pushed an internal button inside too, right? Like, so somebody who's, let's say, like anxious attached in their marriage, like when they don't hear from their partner for a delayed amount of time, or maybe their partner texts them every day at a certain time and they don't this time, that's an external occurrence that pushes like an internal button.
Yeah.
Right. So have you ever experienced stuff like that? You feel like?
Oh, for sure. I know. Even now, everybody has triggers though.
Yeah.
Everybody has things that like trigger them, and everyone gets triggered and reacts in different ways. So for me, it definitely used to be, I remember before we even met, my thing was like, if I didn't hear from someone, not like for hours, but maybe if I didn't hear from them for like a while, or I felt like there was a tone switch in the text or the conversation, that would trigger me to start overthinking and overanalyzing. Then I'd start getting a bit more like clingy. I start getting a bit more like agitated. I just start like saying things and asking a lot of questions. Turn into an FBI agent. Those were... So I've definitely experienced what it feels like to be triggered. And then even in marriage, like even in our relationship, like we have instances where, let's say I didn't feel like you said something correctly to me. Like I can get triggered and feel like, okay, that maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he isn't like thinking about me. Maybe I'm not important to him. And then that triggers me and makes me just start like acting, not disrespectfully towards you, but maybe I get distant, or maybe I just start overthinking. But for me, my triggers that I've had to work through is like it causing me to start overthinking. So What about you?
That to be honest, I definitely have triggers and definitely have those core wounds. And I think what's interesting is like the overthinking thing. And like, so for me personally, I used to be someone who was fearful of waiting. Like, obviously we talk about this all the time, but for many people who don't know, I used to be fearful of waiting before me and my wife started dating. And so what's interesting is that for me, sometimes when I would be triggered, I would go ahead and, of course, like withdraw, shut down, pull away. But other times, I would cling. And see, you might have been an FBI agent. I was stalking. I'm on your Instagram. I'm linking Instagram profiles. I was keeping my dog as well, too. I know what it feels like. So for me, it caused me to do these actions, and you look back and you're like, oh, why did I do that? Like, after you kind of calm down, you're like, why did I go ahead and do that? And I think what a lot of people don't understand is, again, they'll be quick to maybe blame like their spouse, they'll be quick to blame like their long-term partner that, oh, you're the reason why I'm getting triggered. Not understanding that it's actually internal triggers called core wounds that are getting triggered by that external event. And even something fascinating, overthinking is actually a coping mechanism. It's actually a strategy. We're about to get into our therapy session. So it's actually a coping mechanism, because what's interesting is that found is that people who tend to overthink a lot, it's usually because they have like some type of fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
And they unfortunately link abandonment to uncertainty due to their childhood. So if there's an uncertain situation, your brain is now causing you to overthink in order to give yourself a sense of certainty to create a story that this is what's actually happening, because then it gives you relief. And so if anyone ever sees themselves like overthinking and you just can't always figure out like, why are you always like visualizing these crazy stories about your partner leaving you or abandoning you or betraying you, a lot of times so you can get a sense of certainty to then calm yourself or give yourself that relief that the present situation is not giving you.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually very true. So I know, like, I definitely used to have like that fear of abandonment, and that would, because that would be triggered, then it would trigger the overthinking, then the overthinking would trigger the reaching out or the, you know, researching, becoming the FBI agent. And I like what you said, earlier about like we have like the internal triggers. So like, what do you say? Because I've heard this before too, where people will be like, oh, this person made me like this, or this person turned me into acting out this way, you're reacting this way. But that keeps being the same pattern regardless of the relationship or the person that they're with. Like, what do you speak to that? Because I know that that might have to do with a bit of the internal triggers, but what would you say to somebody that says something like that?
Honestly, respectfully, you're wrong. Like, you have to like really, really, really realize that if it's a recurring pattern across your relationships, and I know some people are like, oh, when I'm single, I feel secure. When I'm in relationships now, I don't feel secure. So it's the other person. No, it's because there are certain core wounds that don't get triggered unless you're in a romantic relationship, unless it's actually like a love style attachment. So if somebody is repeating the same patterns and the same behaviors over and over again, it's an internal core wound, right? So for instance, if you're somebody who gets defensive, hey, I've been there. If you're always getting like defensive in all your conversations, and anytime somebody says something, you take it as like criticism or an attack, it's because you probably have an I am disrespected core wound. And so in order to protect yourself, you get defensive to defend yourself because you probably feel another core wound, I am alone. And so you think that nobody's there to defend you, so you have to now defend yourself, which is why when people bring up criticism, whether constructive or not, or they go ahead and express how they need something for you, it's easy to go ahead and like defend yourself. So I really think that if somebody really wants to really grow in their marriage and understand triggers so they can understand themselves and their partners more, they have to be real about the past patterns they've shown in past relationships, and then identify, okay, I have this negative pattern I keep doing. What is the actual root, the core wound that's tied to that specific behavior? Not what is the other person doing, what is being triggered inside of me to then cause that action.
And I think that that is what you said is just so important, like being able to name like what that is that's causing that reaction. I know like in our journey, we were actually just talking about this I think earlier today, where I was saying how having the words to put to the emotions and the feelings has been life-changing. Like being able to identify in the moment, like, oh, I think I might feel disrespected, or I think the core wound like that's being triggered right now is that I'm unimportant. Once you can have like words to identify what those triggers are, it makes it so much easier to now communicate those triggers to your partner. Like, hey, you know, when you did this, it made me feel unimportant. Do you mind like doing this to now make me feel like important to you? Like rather than like attacking your partner or attacking the person, like actually being able to now like put words into like what those feelings are and identify it through words is so important. Like it's so important. And then like even being able to communicate to your partner, like, oh, like this is what triggered me. Like what was triggered in me was feeling disrespected or feeling unimportant or feeling abandoned. And I think that it also helps your partner also now empathize with you as well too, right? Because you're now being vulnerable. You're now, and that vulnerability leads to connection as well too. So now you're like being vulnerable with your partner. You're giving them that ability to, you know, see like the internal side of you and giving them the opportunity to now like help you with that as well too. And that just brings connection. And I know that that's been something that's been very, very like essential in our marriage as well too. But how do you feel about that?
No, I 100% agree. And I feel like that's what makes us like stay connected. I think because like what a lot of people don't understand is that like we all have like major needs, which by the way, if you're curious about like what major needs are, definitely encourage you to check out episode 1. But like those major needs are what help us feel like connected, safe, secure, and fulfilled to each other. And what people don't realize is that like, and something that obviously I'm glad that we've been able to work through is that you have to be able to understand your core wounds because your core wounds block your major needs from being met.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? If I'm somebody who thinks I am weak when I'm vulnerable, that's a core wound.
Yeah.
But I need more physical touch from you, or I need more romantic connection from you, or I need more appreciation from you. That's me being vulnerable. Asking for a specific need to be met by someone else is me being vulnerable.
Yeah.
But if I have a core wound that says I am weak when vulnerable, it blocks me from getting the very need I need in order to feel safe and connected. So for me personally, core wounds I had that I needed to remove, like before we got married, and even had continued to work on it early on in our marriage, is I am weak when vulnerable, right? Another big one is I am not good enough.
Yeah.
Now I didn't think I wasn't good enough, like as a person or a man for you, but it's more for situationally because of what I was struggling with.
Yeah.
Right. The addiction I had and the struggles I had, it actually made it to me felt like I wasn't good enough in certain scenarios, like for you situationally. So I am not good enough was a big one. Occasionally I am rejected would try to creep up in certain situations, but I feel like again, because I was able to identify these things and because I actively work on them and they don't. See, that's another thing too about core wounds. Let's talk about it. Not only do sometimes, unfortunately, people think that like all their triggers are external, but once they realize that they're internal, they fail to realize that like you can actually work on uprooting those core wounds so that A, you do not actually get as triggered often. So you're getting triggered less frequently, but also B, when you do get triggered, you're not getting triggered to such a high intensity. Because what's happening is that when you get triggered internally, look at it as a scale. You have your logical, rational side, which actually is going to respond. And then you have your emotional side, which is going to react. If your reaction side is on level 10, you're not going to be able to actually respond. So you want to keep your emotion levels down and keep your response levels high so that you can be able to think in the moment and do what the Bible says, actually show love. Right? Actually be selfless. Actually be kind. Actually be gentle. Actually show patience. It's hard to do those things when your emotional levels are too high. And so what happens is that people get triggered internally and their emotions are all over the place.
And that's pretty much what it looks like to become secure attached. Like you're not striving to become perfect. You're just striving to be in a place where you can have that emotional regulation. Where you're not reacting out of like emotions and then it's like extremely toxic or it's like it can just hurt like the relationship or it can hurt the other person, but you're reacting from that like nice regulated place. And you're also like aware of your triggers. You're aware of like what it is that causes those things to be triggered and you can identify it and you can communicate it. So that's why I think that it's so important for every couple to strive to become securely attached. Because again, it doesn't mean that you're striving for perfection. You're just striving to communicate and act from a place that is like a good baseline, like a good understanding. So
I agree. And I actually have a question for you. Like for somebody who's out there, they're like, okay, like cool. Like I know now, like I have this external trigger, maybe with my partner, maybe my man is somebody who's emotionally unavailable. They tend to shut down. They're a great guy, but they're very closed off, one-word answers. And we're a Christian couple, so nothing's bad. No one's talking divorce, but I feel like lonely, and when he's distant from me, I feel triggered. Distance and space creates a trigger in me. It triggers something in me, which, by the way, is probably a fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. But to that specific spouse, that specific woman, how do you feel like you've worked on that in the past to where like space or distance doesn't necessarily like trigger you maybe the way it used to, or is it something that you're like how do you deal with that space and distance?
Well, I think for me it started off in like steps. First, it was just like identifying that one, that I shouldn't let my mind go to a place of now starting to overthink and think that this person was going to like leave me or abandon me. I had to start questioning the stories that I was creating in my head when they asked for that space. And then the second thing was also to identify what was it that was being triggered in that moment. Like if what was triggered for me was, oh, I'm going to be abandoned, or I feel like I'm going to be abandoned, then identifying that and then kind of just like, and this is something that I had to do like over and over. It takes time. It's just imagining or remembering a moment where I felt like accepted, or remembering a moment where like I knew that I was like, that I wasn't gonna be abandoned pretty much. Like, and for me, that was also like envisioning God like holding me, saying like, I'm never gonna leave you, like you're not alone. That like helped like rewire my mind into like kind of tricking my mind in a way into believing that I'm someone that is not going to be abandoned. Like I have God and he's always going to be there for me. And then also the last thing, sorry. I know it's a podcast, I'm getting used to this. But
John's like, it's so adorable. Like, I'm so sorry for talking.
I know, I'm getting used
People
to this
they
podcast
want-
stuff
yeah.
as opposed to shorts.
I know that's shorts, man.
Shorts are getting-
Give me everything in 30 seconds. If you don't capture my attention in 10 seconds, I'm out of here.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta squeeze everything in one. But okay, and then the last thing was also like, and this is something I worked on in our marriage specifically. This isn't something that I did previously, but was communicating that the space would trigger me.
Yeah.
And communicating what I needed to make me feel reassured, like in that moment. So whether that is you needing space, but reassuring me and letting me know, like, hey, I need some space, but just know I'm not mad at you. I love you. I'm gonna be right back. I just need a moment to just decompress really quickly. But don't worry, like I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not going to abandon you. And for me, verbally getting that reassurance was all that I needed. Like, and then the space was fine. And as long as like space doesn't mean go away for days,
It does not
for
mean disappearing.
hours,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
disappearing. Like you can,
Which I'm
okay.
guilty of.
Yeah. But you've gotten so much better. And like even in our marriage, like I love how you will communicate and be like, oh, I just need like 10 minutes of space.
Yeah.
Or I need 5 minutes of space. Like, and I'm not mad at you. I'm not like angry at you. I'm not gonna leave you. I just need to decompress really quickly. So that like getting that reassurance and actually communicating that I needed that has been so helpful for me. So yeah.
I love that, man. I think you covered a couple of like really key things that I hope people really like caught. That like one, space is not bad. So like if you're somebody who's like the like I don't want to say withdrawn, but you're the guy who just needs to decompress. You like time to yourself. You like being alone. You feel like maybe your wife or your spouse is always in your back and nagging you. You just want a little bit of distance. It's okay to ask for that. Like I need some level of space. I'm not somebody who needs an extreme level. I feel like you're somebody who also values like your alone time as well
Yes, I
too.
do. Yeah.
But we're always intentional to like give each other context.
Yeah.
Like so like
Found better.
why? I mean we both have grown in that area. Like why do we need space?
Yeah.
We always reassure each other. It's not you. It's not anything personal. I love you. I care about you. Can't wait to reconnect. I just need this to be able to decompress or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like when somebody understands like their triggers, they can also now understand a better way of communicating to their partner how they want to go ahead and have their relationship dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So you said it. You understood that space makes you sometimes feel abandoned.
Yeah.
If it's not done appropriately. And so you know how to communicate that. Same thing with me. If you just were giving like random space and you were gone like hours and I had like no context and didn't hear from you, it could also start to trigger that old wound of abandonment for me as well too.
Yeah.
But I think we're both very intentional about communicating like, hey, this is what the situation is. This is how I'm like feeling. It's not anything personal. We reassure that I still love you, still can't wait to spend time with you. I just need to go on a walk. Or I just need to be able to take some time to be able to be in my thoughts. And I think another thing that people hopefully can glean from this is that this works in conflict too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like how many times have we been in conflict? And I know we don't get in like conflicts like a lot, which we thank God for that. We think that we have like a lot of good communication skills to be able to keep from conflicts.
Yeah.
But when we do find ourselves in conflict, there has been situations where it's like, hey, I need like 10 minutes to be able to like, I can feel that emotion level rising. I just need 10 minutes to regulate myself and to be able to get back like to feeling calm. It's not even personal. I love you. We're going to reconnect in like 5-10 minutes. Give me 15 minutes, right? That like setting a time limit on how much space is needed is also so important. Because if you're dealing with somebody who like, and I'm not saying even you, like let's say it's like you're an avoidant man and you have a partner who's like anxious attached. You can't just be like, I need space and not give any time for that. You're going to trigger and turn to which again is why knowing the triggers is so important.
It's so important.
That was a rant.
No, that was good though.
That's actually ranting.
That was good. That was
Hey,
cool. That
put
was
a
cool.
mic in front of me. I'm just gonna rant.
No, this is perfect. This is perfect. But okay, so then what would you say then to a couple who struggles to even get to that point of like even communicating? Like what if either of them are uncomfortable with even communicating like, hey, this triggers me or this makes me feel abandoned? Because doing that is a bit hard. Like I remember initially even just telling you like, oh, you taking space or you reacting this way makes me feel this way. Like actually expressing those feelings and telling you what those feelings are was tough because it felt like if I tell him this, will he use this against me in the future, you know? So how can couples do that if they already struggle with being vulnerable?
That's a really good one. And I also used to, and you know this, I used to struggle with that as well too.
Yeah.
Because I think for maybe people who don't know some context, we both used to be like fearful, avoidant.
Yeah.
She was fearful, avoidant, leaning anxious. I was
Yeah.
fearful, avoidant, leaning avoidant. So a key thing with people who are fearful, avoidant is like that like fear of like control to fear like being manipulated.
Yeah.
Fear like that, like basically like whatever vulnerability you do show, not only can make you weak, but will then be weaponized against you.
Yeah.
Right. So honestly, that in itself is a big thing, right? If you know your attachment style, a lot of times that can give you indicators into what core wounds you have that block the major needs you have. So like a major need, like we all have like this need for connection.
Yeah.
Right. And so unfortunately, like that fear of being vulnerable blocks that need for connection. So knowing your attachment style can help you identify what core wounds you have. But if you're somebody who is like specifically struggling to share your core wounds, a lot of times it's because of a specific core wound, which is I am weak and vulnerable. Right. So you really need to go ahead and identify the areas in your life where like the few times you have been vulnerable and the positive outcomes that have come from it.
Yeah.
There are going to be some negative times,
Yeah.
especially if you grew up in like a toxic family dynamic, but there are going to be at least some positive times where you were vulnerable and you had a healthy experience or a positive experience. You need to constantly, in vivid detail, replay those specific memories in your mind because now you're training your subconscious that vulnerability is safe. 2, you got to find safe people. Which is why like I'm always gonna go ahead and plug like our platform Deepen.
Yeah.
Because like in Deepen, not only do you get a chance to go ahead and work with other couples, you get a chance to work with us. And the more you work with people who are comfortable being vulnerable, and you see that you can be vulnerable with safe people, what happens is that you're now training your subconscious to get new experiences and new images of how vulnerability is actually safe.
Yeah.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that you start then doing the third thing, which is you gradually practice vulnerability. Right? So no one's saying that you should go to somebody, go to your spouse and just tell them about, pour your heart out and just bomb it all over them. Don't actually bomb it. Bomb it on them. Like,
Yeah.
boy, I could tell some stories, but nobody's saying that you need to just go like emotionally, like vomit on your partner. You can start off very small, but just understanding your core wounds and then just get good at naming your core wounds.
Yeah.
So for instance, you could have a core wound that says, I am disrespected. So if you're in a conversation with your partner and you feel disrespected, you can just, a vulnerable moment can be, hey, I know you didn't mean to, but right now I feel disrespected.
Yeah.
Even if that's all you say,
Yeah.
that itself is practicing vulnerability gradually. And the more you're seeing people be vulnerable, so you're training your subconscious that it's safe, the more you're remembering the safe memories of you being vulnerable, the more you're practicing it gradually, you're now shifting that wound out of the way to be able to now express more of the wounds you have.
Yeah. That was good. That was really, really good.
I'll just be ranting.
No. Hey, relationship guy.
Don't even know what I just said.
Relationship
Couldn't
guy.
tell. I don't even know what I just said. Holy Spirit, move me.
Amen.
What did you just say? I don't know.
Amen. And honestly, just like
Why does my
getting
voice sound
past.
like that? My voice is super high on here. Go ahead. Why did I say that like that?
But honestly, getting past that point of like vulnerability and like you said, even just naming and saying like those feelings in the moment can be so helpful in just hindering things from escalating as well too. Like you guys do not know how many times we've had disagreements that could have went from 0 to 100 had we not in those moments just been vulnerable with each
Nipped it
other,
in the butt, basically.
nipped it in the butt and just been like, oh, I felt disrespected in this moment when you did this, or I felt unimportant or unloved in this moment. And you'll be so surprised how your partner is so unaware of these triggers and core wounds. Like
It's big time, especially that the man and woman.
Yeah.
A lot of times men don't catch certain stuff.
No.
So you'd be surprised.
You'd be so surprised. And then just like so many moments where he'll say that to me and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that my actions made you feel that way. And when you don't say anything, it just gives you room to just start thinking, making up your own thoughts and like overthinking if you are a overthinker. And then the man on the other hand is thinking, oh, she's doing too much. She's like, it's not that serious. But it's because you don't understand what is being triggered within each of you that you're now going off and trying to figure it out on your own. And that's when I feel like the enemy, not even sorry.
Preach, prophetess. Preach, prophetess. Now we preach.
That's when I feel like but that's when I feel like the enemy can come in and then bring further division. Because if you're on your own isolated here thinking about like, oh, well, how could he not pick this up about it? How could he think this? And then he's over here thinking, why is she reacting this way? Why is she acting like this? Now the enemy has you both isolated and is putting these thoughts into your brain, as opposed to if you had just communicated in that moment, been vulnerable in that moment, it would have stopped things from escalating and leading to further isolation and further disconnection. So this is so important, guys. Like, this is why I think just like every marriage, every couple, like, start learning what your triggers are and start practicing that vulnerability. I think they call it this exposure therapy, where like you start
gradually,
gradually, yeah, start doing that. Like you said, start practicing trust with someone that, start practicing being vulnerable with someone that you trust. Whether it's like, well, I didn't like this, or if you're at a restaurant, which is something that I don't used to struggle with, just being honest. Like, if you're at a restaurant and you don't like the food, you can tell the waiter, hey, I don't like the food.
Yeah,
like
it's okay.
it starts in just very small ways, and when you begin to practice it gradually, then you'll feel more comfortable and it'll feel more natural for you as well too. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a game changer when it comes to conflict, when it comes to connecting with your partner. So yeah.
That you said a lot of great stuff in there, like a lot. Like,
thank
nah, for real. That's prophesying. The part that really struck me, why I felt the need to get up, was the isolation part.
Yeah.
Because like that's so true. Like, the enemy does try to get you to think certain thoughts and think like your partner doesn't understand you.
Yeah.
And it just feeds into that further disconnect that couples, especially married couples, feel.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know what your core wounds are. Your partner doesn't know what their core wounds are. You also don't know what your external triggers are. They don't know what their external triggers are. Maybe you might know one or two.
Yeah.
You don't know what your major needs are. And so then you just feel all these things about each other, and then you just isolate and you think they don't understand you.
Yeah.
And it's just you're then professing that over yourself and creating even more distance and divide. So that's when you said that, I was like, that's some heat.
Yeah.
So that's some heat. We can dive into that even in itself, like in the whole thing. Maybe we'll do another episode about that. But before I officially wrap up, I do want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What about like the woman who has a husband who's a little bit like emotionally unavailable? Maybe he withdraws. He's a nice guy. He cares about their family, but he's kind of just a little distant. Like, how can she, like, does she need him to be able to like work on her triggers? Does she need him to be also communicating his triggers to create some of this emotional safety, or is there something that she can work on herself?
Yeah, no, it's definitely something she can work on her by herself. And another deep plug, we created it that way so that you can work on it on your own as well too. But no, it's definitely something that you can work on yourself, because take you for example, before we even met, you already started on your journey of becoming securely attached, and that was something you did on your own.
Yeah.
So that's something that she can definitely start working on herself, so she can start identifying what her triggers are, learning what her core wounds are, rewiring her mind to be able to not react from that emotional place.
Keep your levels down.
Exactly, that regulated place. So I think that there's no reason for you to, I guess, wait for your partner to be able to start working on these things, because when you start working on these things by yourself, then you start being like, not only just a good example for your partner, but you also start responding to your partner in ways that they weren't expecting to. And that, I know for me, like when we first started dating, like Troy being able to give me reassurance helped keep me regulated.
Yeah.
So when you yourself start working on becoming like securely attached, working on those core wounds, you in a way are now also helping your partner as well become like regulated, and also showing them what it looks like to be a secure person as well too.
That's amazing. What you're talking about is secure model.
Yes.
Like legit secure model. Like you are the one who leads, because everyone thinks like, oh, my partner has to come with me on this journey.
Yeah.
But like you said so eloquently, like if you start, you can do things that not only help you to not be as triggerable, but because you're not as triggerable, you're probably less likely to trigger your partner as often.
Yeah.
That's already creating a calmer dynamic in your relationship. And then they're now starting to see now what it looks like to respond securely. You're actually subconsciously training them about what secure responses look like.
Yes.
So it's like, and it's twofold. And even if you're that anxious attached, like wife, you're into a relationship and your husband's like avoidant, I'm going to say something that might hurt a little bit. Get dramatic.
Oh.
He's not solely avoidant just to be avoidant. It also is sometimes the actions that you're doing that also trigger him to want even additional space. Okay, what do I mean? If you're somebody who fears abandonment, you're then going to go ahead and overthink. The overthink is going to put you in a negative emotional state, aka anxiousness, dread, anxiety. now you have a nervous system that's dysregulated. You're going to try to go ahead and do actions to try to soothe the pain you're feeling or meet your need for connection, which is over clinging, like you said earlier, clinging, being needy, things of that nature. And if you're with somebody who's avoidant and you cling and need often, that's going to trigger their fear that says, I am trapped, that says, I am controlled. And they're going to, especially if you do it from a place of like a lot of emotion, they're not going to feel I am unsafe. And they're going to withdraw or shut down to create even more distance and more space. But if you're able to regulate and self-regulate yourself, if you're able to know then how to communicate these triggers in an effective way, because that's another thing we can talk about in a whole other video, how to communicate your triggers in a way that actually resonates with your partner, how to communicate your needs. Once you know how to then communicate these things in a secure way, you're less likely to keep triggering them as well too, which keeps you guys a little bit more connected.
That was really, really good. That was really, really, that kind of just even goes back to what I mentioned like earlier about like how, because you're not communicating and then you're not communicating to each other, then it causes each other to start like creating distance and reacting to each other from this like emotionally regulated place. And I think we should do a video on communication as well too, because we touched on that a little bit, and
I'm sure a lot of people will visit it.
I think that maybe we should do that on our next video.
I think so, because a lot of people do say like, oh, what do you need in a relationship? Communication?
Yeah.
People don't know what that means.
Yeah, like what does it actually look like?
Yeah.
So this is good.
All right, maybe we'll go ahead and do that in the next video, as usual. Like, let us know in the comments like what videos you do want us to talk about. If not, we probably will talk about communication. Like very simple, practical way to communicate in a way that like your partner will receive what your triggers are and what your needs are. But any final thoughts for everyone, or?
No, I mean, definitely like, subscribe.
Watch, share, comment. Let us know what you think, what you want us to talk about. We really want to make sure this is super valuable for the married people out there, for the people in long-term relationships. We see, we know that a lot of times it feels like it's impossible to reconnect, or it feels like it's impossible to see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. But I'm telling you, it's a lot more simplified than you think once you understand these core key concepts that we'll be sharing over the next weeks and months. All right. As usual, she looks lovely. I may look a little lovelier though. Okay, who wore better? Who wore better? All right, y'all. That's pretty much it before I start talking more and making her blush. So we'll see you in the next podcast.
Bye, you guys.